Good evening and welcome to tonight's United View. I'm Ben from at the Red United, and we've just rushed on air because we've been having technical difficulties behind the scene. However, we're here, we've got our four panellists, and we're ready to go. Joining the panel tonight, we've got one of our regular panellists. You will see him as well on the Transfer Roundup with his co-host Haley. Tom, thank you for coming on this evening, mate.
Cheers for having me back again, mate. It's good to be back.
No problem at all, and we see you Wednesday as well. Double dose of you this week. How are we going to handle that? Also back on the panel this evening, Shaun, thank you for coming on, mate.
Hi Ben, hi everyone.
Yeah, Shaun was the one who's made us late, so we'll forgive him and we'll move on. Also on the panel tonight. Yeah, it wouldn't be the same show, would it? Also on the panel tonight, we've got our favourite American, Pasha. Thank you for coming on, mate.
Thank you very much, Ben. It's always a pleasure to be part of United View, and looking forward to speaking to you guys.
And I love your flag as well. Prime position. Hey. Look at that. It's like you planned it.
Hey, man. You see, we're Iranians. A lot of people in Iran, we love United. So, so it'll be good for the Scousers to see this, and they say nobody gives a damn about them in Iran. So it'll be good for them.
Yeah, well, we do. And also on Australia tonight, making his United View debut. We've seen a lot of him on YouTube, but we had to invite him on. George, thank you for coming on, mate.
Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me. Been looking forward to this all day.
And you've probably got the best background out of all of us, so congratulations on that one.
Lovely, thanks, man.
So let's go straight into it, shall we? The first topic, QPR. Tom, kickoff came, the team sheet came out, Falcao starting, yes. Fellaini on the bench, good to have him back. Blin starting, Rojo back, yes. 3-5-2. What was your thoughts straight away?
It was another big call from Van Gaal this weekend with Falcao starting. He gave him a chance. It was another one of those odd ones. It's tough at the moment because Van Gaal's saying, he's got his whole squad fit, so it's difficult to see what formation he's really trying to play at the moment. He's trying to pigeonhole players, I think, and we saw that happen again this weekend. He seems to be playing players in the wrong positions. I mean, there's Phil Jones taking corners, so I think the squad's a little bit of a mess at the moment. I think he's still trying to figure out who his first starting 11 is, who he wants in the 18, so it's tough. It was another one of those at the weekend. I'm glad we got the win, but as you say, starting off, it's anyone's guess how we start off.
Yeah, that is true. And to be honest, Shaun, I've got to come to you with this one. I mean, Tom kind of just touched on it. Phil Jones taking corners, Shaun. I mean, we've had David Beckham, we've had Ronaldo, we've had Rooney, but Phil Jones taking corners, Shaun.
It's certainly different. I'd rather he was in the box itself to get his head on a corner, to be fair. But I was a bit lost at the time. But then he can't do any worse than what we have been doing, can he, really?
Well, to be honest, I was just about to say, even though a bit confusing, Jones is taking the corners, it made a few great memes after the match, didn't it? Did you see the one, how many chances have we created? His 2 hands in the air, 2 goals. Pasha, we'll come over to you. How did you enjoy the match? Did you think we were playing better than Southampton, or was it same old story against QPR?
Let me say one thing. We played better with injuries than without. That's a fact. The thing is that with the 3-5-2 formation, if you don't have the outer back line, they can't play that formation simply because they can't even. They're too nervous to bring up the ball up front. As that's part of Louis Van Gaal's philosophy from transitioning from defense to attack. That's a big problem when we have Jones and Evans and Rojo, because if one of them is edgy, the other two will be nervous. One thing that I do want to say is that Louis Van Gaal is known to be stubborn. He's known to be arrogant. Even the Bayern's Munich CEO Karl-Heinz once said that he had to go because he was trying to vandalize Bayern Munich. He will play this formation until it gets clicks, And one thing, I mean, I don't personally like the 3-5-2, and I think everybody would agree. But one thing I do want to say is that he's not going to drop it simply because everybody hates it. He's going to try to keep doing it until it clicks, in my personal view. I mean, I hope he goes back to the 4-4-2 diamond. But one thing that people need to realize is that that's what you want from a manager. You want that guy that has guts, that arrogancy, that, hey, I'm going to do what I got to do in order to make this team successful. If it was David Moyes, immediately he would piss his pants and let the, be like, oh, God, I don't know what to do, or just look up, newspaper articles of what to go with. But, I mean, it was very frustrating with a 3-5-2 because, once again, he was trying to make Di Maria play in the Robin role. We all know Di Maria is not a prolific striker. he's more of a player that likes to play creative passes, make assists. That role was he was trying to get the best out of him, but that unfortunately didn't happen because we saw how his movements were out of play. He wasn't playing as a number 2 striker, as we say, and but once again, he's trying to. It's all a process. It's all a transition system,
And it's all opinion based, isn't it, Pasha? I mean, we
Exactly.
could go on about it for ages, this formation debate. We got to say hello to Matt, hello to Fred, hello to Raul, hello to Natalie, hello to Young Sino, hello to Paul, hello to Gappy, hello to Liam as well. All in the chat box this evening with you. We're going to come to your comments. So if you want to get involved with the show, make sure you subscribe, comment in the chat boxes, or tweet us at United View. I will be looking at my phone throughout the show very unprofessionally, because we're all students. Assad says Louis van Gaal has said that he will keep playing the 3-5-2. Young Sino says we can kiss goodbye to the top 4 then. Fred says I reckon City and Liverpool struggled against QPR away. He went for 3-5-2, but we had to change it. Ali says I couldn't figure out why Phil Jones was taking corners. And we'll come to more of your comments soon. George, I mean, we're baffled every week by some decisions that Louis van Gaal makes. The 3-5-2 is one of them. But to his credit, he changed it, didn't he? And it made the difference.
Yeah, you know what, he did. And you know what, when it comes to the first half, as Pasha said, it was so frustrating. It was dull. It was boring. Nothing was happening. There was literally there's nothing going on. And then thankfully, in the second half, I think, after the fans I heard chanting as well, Van Gaal was now changing it. And then I think it was, 15 seconds down the wing, Fellaini goes and scores. Yeah, so you know what, I think it was one of those ones. It was inevitable that formation had to be changed, and I think you could tell that from the crowd's reaction as well. There was just no chances happening. It was dull. It was frustrating, and we went into half time and thankfully to David De Gea, we could have been 2-0 down. Charlie Austin had how many chances did he have? So it was a frustrating first half, but thankfully it changed in the second.
Yeah, thanks to the changes. And one of the changes, Tom, for me, played really, really well. I mean, James Wilson, for me, came on. And he looked like one of our best players. And how long was he on the pitch? I mean, what did you make of Wilson's performance?
I mean, it was obviously great. He's got his goal. He came on. He did exactly what he needed to do. I think we all know, from watching Wilson in the reserves, he's, got the talent. It's just he hasn't, this season, he's struggled a little to make the step up. With the striking options that Van Gaal's got, he's got so much quality up front that it's hard for Wilson to break in. But it's always been a mark of Van Gaal as a manager and United that if you get chances, if you get minutes and you take those chances, then he'll play you. And Wilson's doing that at the moment. I think it's so crucial to have a player up front with the self-belief, in direct contrast to Falcao. Wilson is taking his chances with that confidence, and hopefully he's going to turn into the player that we all hope he can be.
Completely agree.
Fingers crossed. And it would be great to see him as well against Cambridge from the start, I reckon. Shaun, a few comments here. Christian says the most important difference was our tactical shift to 4-4-2 in the second half against QPR. Damien says, is that just Damien? I think that's just Damien. Sorry, I don't know why I put an accent on that. Louis van Gaal is using 3-5-2 so he can fit all his 5 Galacticos in the team, them being Di Maria, Mata, Rooney, Falcao and RVP. It's not about our defence. To be honest, if you look at the stats, our defence aren't doing too bad. City, who conceded more goals than us now, our defence isn't bleeding goals. We're not losing games 5-6-0 because of poor defensive errors. We're just not really creating anything, are we? But the frustrating thing still is, Shaun, is that he's playing Di Maria out of position, he's playing Rooney out of position, he's playing Mata out of position, and to be honest, Falcao and RVP should just be on the last 2, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they should be. I'd like to see Falcao and Wilson start against Cambridge. We shouldn't need Falcao really to be starting against Cambridge, no disrespect to them. But when Wilson came on yesterday, I thought that he and Falcao linked up really well. Obviously, there was a couple of chances. And they seemed to work well together. Wilson was pulling the defenders all over the place with his pace, which was giving the space for Falcao. You don't see that with Van Persie when he's playing. He hasn't got the pace that Wilson's got. I know obviously there's a big age gap there. I believe that those two together, or any sort of two a partnership of strikers, there should be the one with the pace and one that finds the space. And Wilson was allowing Falcao to do that, This whole playing them out of position, I just do not understand it whatsoever. I kind of get the fact that Rooney's probably got a little bit more muscle in the middle of the pitch, and is probably slightly better defensively than what Di Maria is. I still question whether Di Maria is actually strong enough to play in the Premier League. Obviously, the Spanish league is a lot different to the English. I mean, we find that with players from all over the place. Look at Shinji Kagawa. He hasn't had the best of seasons at Dortmund this year, but previous to that, he ran the show for them. He come to us, and he wasn't strong enough to do it. He wasn't a Premier League player, let's say. I'm not saying Di Maria isn't and won't be. I just think he's finding the first season tougher than a lot of us thought he would.
But then, could we make that excuse about Falcao too, Shaun?
Absolutely, and we can make it about a few players, not necessarily just United players either. Other players that have gone to other clubs that haven't performed quite as well as they have done, sort of with the club they were with before. It does generally take a season for a new team to gel together, and the new players to get accustomed to the pace of the league. I mean, Van Gaal said this is completely different to anything I've done before.
Yeah.
So the English league is probably the best league in the world. It is the most competitive league in the world. And you get all these people saying, could Messi do it on the cold night in Stoke? Well, he's never tried. And people saying that
he wanted to, he could.
Yeah, trust me.
You can't say for definite. But would he have the same impact in England as he has in the Liga? How long would it take for Messi to get into the rhythm of the Premier League? Because it wouldn't be anything like he's experienced before. I don't believe, anyway, in my opinion.
Well, if he signs for United, hopefully straight away. But we can't see that happening. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Hello to Gappy Millionaire, who says we should sign Falcao. He works hard on and off the ball, and the balls getting fed to him have been poor. He was unlucky yesterday. Fred Jones says Falcao was unlucky. He could easily have got a hat-trick. Feel for the lad, but Wilson and Falcao have connected very well. Rawley says Wilson was excellent, a young, hungry striker willing to run, a breath of fresh air after our lack of shots on target in recent matches. Still looking at a few comments. Young Sino says I still stand behind Falcao. Matt says playing players out of position is ruining the team at the moment, not individual performances. And also having a look here at Ali, who says Falcao is world class. If he goes, I'll be heartbroken. Pasha, where are you on the Falcao debate? Are you a lover? Are you still waiting for him to prove himself, or are you kind of now looking at next season without him?
You know, I mean, I've always watched Falcao ever since he played for River Plate, and then he moved on to FC Porto, then Atletico Madrid, and then went to AS Monaco. Now it's like United. You know, it's how many players in the world, from signing him on a loan, have that personal relationship with the fans, and our own fans have made a chant for him that we haven't even made a chant for Di Maria and other players. He is a player that I think that even if he doesn't score a lot of goals, he clicks that philosophy that Louis van Gaal wants in different various ways. I personally think that if we do sign him and he doesn't do well, he's a good signing, not only because of him not scoring or assisting, but because he gives James Wilson another exposition, because James Wilson is getting exposed from Robin Van Persie, Rooney, Falcao. So it gives him a big variety of different tactical games and the way he wants to play from different countries, if that makes sense. Getting him exposed from different variations of the football attacking sense, if that makes sense. Looking long term for James Wilson. Look, when James Wilson scored, the first person that gave him a hug is Falcao. If it was some selfish bastard, you know, they would easily be like, oh, you know, James Wilson scored, I'm just kind of having my head down. But he gave that encouragement, and that's what you want to see from Falcao, from a guy that is experienced. He's going to give our young players something to look forward to make them realize that they could become what they want. Like, James Wilson looks upon to these guys. You know, Falcao is a father figure for them. And I feel like if he is still part of our team, not only would he click this formation, but once again, the free factor is not going to work with Falcao when you have Di Maria up top, you know, because it's going to make his movements shifting to the left, to the right. It's not going to make him playing in that box-to-box, you know, being in that box to score goals. I feel like he has a personal relationship. Even he says this, that him and his wife and his family, they're all happy to be in Manchester. It's very, very hard to see him go because he has a deep relationship with the fans, and we fans love him. And I think that if he leaves, one day we're going to regret it, to be honest with you. Don't look at the age. Age doesn't matter in football. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But look at it this way. His name is still Radamel Falcao, and he could still become that person that we need. He still will get you goals. He has been unlucky, but once again, his name is El Tigre, and I bet you if we sign him, he's going to improve himself day by day. But once again, the 3-5-2 is not, how do I say it? When you have Di Maria up top and Mata in this number 10 role, but once again, when you have Rooney drop deep, we saw it wasn't working. So
He needs
I
to
hope
play
that
around him to complement him, doesn't
exactly,
he?
yeah, exactly. He's on a trial, so it's hard to he needs to play where he's best at. I'm trying to say, and what I mean by best at is play the players that are best in their own position, not try to force Di Maria playing the Robin role, because Di Maria is not Robin. He's not a goal scorer. He's not known to be a goal scorer. He's known to be a guy that creates plays, and I feel like Falcao should be signed because he's going to be a great leader on this team and a great role model for our youngsters back in the reserves and for James Wilson.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And George, we've had a tweet come in. I don't know your stance on it. Obviously, you can let us know in a second. But Anders Spoon says Falcao got absolutely battered against Yeovil, and he kept coming back against QPR. He ran his arse off. Hashtag Tevez. Like, there's a lot of talk, a lot of comparison to Carlos Tevez, and I see it completely. He's passionate. He loves the club, and Tevez did as well. He might have gone to City, but he went to City because we didn't do enough to keep him. So, one, we need to make sure we don't make that mistake again, because obviously Tevez ended up at City, and two, we've just got to try and get the best out of him, haven't we?
Of course. You know what? Every time I've seen Falcao play, whether it be for Man United, Porto, Atletico Madrid, or Colombia, it's one of those ones. He's so passionate about the game. It is absolutely unbelievable to watch. And regardless of whether who you support, Falcao was on loan. He's trying to prove himself. He's for me. I've mentioned in one of my videos yesterday. I think he's trying too hard. Whether to score, and he's getting the chances, but unfortunately, right at this moment, they're not coming along, and he's not scoring. But you know what? There is no doubt in my mind that this man, he'll come good. It's as simple as that. He's everyone knows what record he's got. Everyone knows what the type of player he is. He's got obviously the links to obviously Van Gaal, obviously, because we wouldn't have got him on loan and wouldn't have had the the chances to have him up playing up front and whatnot. So there's no doubt in my mind that this, he will come good. I just think he's trying too hard at the moment. Maybe he should relax a little bit. But as the lad said, he is running his backside off, and you can't fault him at all for that. His work ethic is just unquestionable. It is just 100%. Every time he plays, he's absolutely unbelievable. He just needs those goals.
Would you sign him at the end of the season, even if the form does continue like it does?
You know what? That's a difficult one, and that who knows what happens from now to the end of the season. But for me, right at this moment in time, I would sign him. Perhaps the 43, I think it is £1 million price tag. I think there's rumours going around today that's going to be sort of negotiated a little bit. Whether we can get him a little bit cheaper, who knows? But for me, I'd sign him. Because obviously with Van Persie coming to the end of his deal, I think it's in 18 months as well. It's the same as David De Gea. We're going to need an out-and-out striker who is known for scoring goals. And out there at the moment, there isn't too many players out there who we could potentially get. We've already got Falcao on the books. So for me,
Also, just to add on to that, we're all forgetting Van Persie's 33, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's
Van Persie, 33 years old.
He's our star signing. He is our star striker at the moment with Van Persie. He has been for the last 3 years. What happens when we lose him? Do we go for a young guy? No, we need a player like Falcao. We need a player of that stature in our squad. And thank you, George. Keep your comments coming in about Falcao. We'll try and get back to him in a minute. First of all, Tom, one of the surprise packages of the season, no, not Ashley Young, Fellaini, he just bullied that QPR team in the end, didn't he? And it was great to see him get on the score sheet as well.
It was. I mean, I think he's got 2 goals off the bench 3 times this season. In his 3 substitute appearances. I mean, he's just a breath of fresh air when he comes in off the bench. I think in an earlier show this season, we were talking with Serge and Mark about Fellaini, and obviously there was some stick for Mara then. But I remember saying that he might not necessarily have a long-term future at United as a starter, but off the bench he just offers something that we don't have, and not a lot of teams have that. He showed it at Everton. He can bully defences. He's great at getting into the box from that attacking midfield role. That's how he got his goal against QPR. And I thought it was interesting because Alan Pardew a couple of days ago he called Yaya Sonogo a chaos factor for Crystal Palace. He said he might not always score goals, but we don't know what he's going to do up front. And I think you can sort of put that on Fellaini as well. He offers United that chaos factor. When he came on, QPR didn't know what to do with him, and that's people laugh at Fellaini for that, but that's also part of the positive perspective of him as well. He's just got that unpredictability that we've been too predictable over the last few games, and Fellaini just offered something that QPR just didn't know how to handle.
Yeah, and he's what we need in a side, and I think Serge sums it up brilliantly on his tweet yesterday. He just offered determination. He just put everything on the line to get the ball back every single time. Shaun, are you kind of shocked at the new Fellaini, because he does look like a completely different player, even from his Everton days? I mean, he looks more ruthless. He looks like he's playing for the badge on that shirt. He does look like he's really passionate for the club.
Yeah, I think that a very large percentage of all United fans, especially last season, questioned him a lot. It was a lot of money that we paid for him, and I believe that he's not as bad as he actually played last season, and he's not as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. He did have a really good stretch at Everton, and it wasn't long before he two seasons before he actually came to us, Arsenal were looking at him, Chelsea were looking at him, there were other teams looking at him, so it wasn't just by fluke that we got him and he was crap. There was more to it than that, and let's face it, none of our players last season, apart from maybe De Gea and Rooney for a large part of the season, came out with any glory. So I think last season Fellaini was a bit of a scapegoat, maybe because of his connections with Moyes as well. But this season, it's as if Van Gaal's come in and said, just go and play your game. There's no pressure on you. Just go. I mean, what was it, 31, 33, or however many million it was? It's a hell of a pressure on him. Especially with everyone bickering at him as well. If there's no pressure, like we were saying about Falcao, if he just relaxes a bit, he's low on confidence. There's a lot of expectation on him. And he's trying too hard. If he just relaxes a bit, it was the same with Fellaini last season. There was a lot of expectation. Everybody was on his case. This season, he's come back from injury and he's relaxed. He's playing for the shirt. I've certainly eaten a big dose of humble pie, because I certainly slagged him off a lot last season, as did a lot of United fans. And I'm not just changing my opinion now because he came on 3 times and scored 2 goals, or however many goals it is. I was there on when we played Valencia in the friendly, the first game at Old Trafford under Van Gaal. And yes, in the second half, when Fellaini came on, there was a lot of booing, and the fans got slated for that booing. I saw it as a bit of encouragement for him, because he actually pulled his socks up and, right, I'm going to bloody score, and guess what, he did. And it was sort of that booing sort of drove him on a bit. Were we right to boo him? I don't know. On last season's showing, yes, but this season he's showing he's definitely a different player.
He is, and to be honest, where he's playing well and he's getting games, Pasha, Herrera seems to be suffering it a little bit at the moment. He's on the bench. We didn't see him again. What do you put this down to with Herrera? For me, he's a good player. He's a United player. He's got a lot to offer. Why is he not in Van Gaal's starting 11? Are you baffled by that?
Yeah, definitely. But once again, it goes back to the 3-5-2 of how he wants to invert. And once again, we don't even know what Januzaj's role is in the squad, and the same goes with Herrera. Does Louis van Gaal see Herrera as a number 10 like he was playing for Atletico Bilbao, or does he see him as a deep lying midfielder that is trying to create plays? It's a strange one, because it might turn out to be another Kagawa instance that we try to get the best. We try to put him in the how do I say it, like in a position that he doesn't prefer likes to play. I feel like the thing with Ander Herrera is that he has so much potential, and whenever he's gotten it, he's done a fantastic job for us. Besides the West Brom game, it's a different one because we nobody asks Louis van Gaal, like a personal question about Ander Herrera to see what his actual role is, because he was a number 10 role for Atletico Bilbao, and when he was playing in the number 10 role for us, he did a phenomenal job. Once again, I personally think it's the formation. It's weird because when Mata wasn't playing, we were like, he's gonna get sold. Now, when Mata is playing and Ander Herrera is not playing, we're gonna say that he doesn't fancy him. But I think he does, because he still went out and agreed upon that. Even David Moyes wanted Ander Herrera. Louis van Gaal agreed that, yeah, I prefer Ander Herrera too. It's a strange one because I think it has to do with the formation. Because he drops Rooney deep now. He wants to put Carrick there as like a physical factor there. But I'm gutted because I love Ander Herrera. I've always watched him. I mean, if you remember back in the Europa League, how much problem him and Iker Muniain and DeMarcos caused problems for us back in the day. But it's a strange one because is it going to be another Shinji Kagawa factor? Maybe. But I personally think Louis van Gaal does prefer him. But once again, who knows? Who knows? Because that's a question that's up to the manager. And I think that maybe he's waiting for Struben to come to change the formation or something, to go to revert to a 4-3-3 and try to make room for him. But it's a strange one. So I don't really know how to explain that.
He'd be an expensive mistake, that's for sure. Mark to GN says sometimes Fellaini is lazy with his passing. Hello as well to Ali, who says who agrees with Mark GN. He needs to sort out his passing, which is why I like Herrera. Hello to Mark, who says he feels sorry for Herrera. Hello to Natty, who says Herrera's season will be next season. Hello to Heather, who says such a quality player and he's sitting on the bench about Herrera. Let's move on and have a look here. Paul says Herrera would walk into the City team for Navas. He could walk into the Arsenal team before Cazorla and company. So what's the problem with Van Gaal? It is a little bit weird. He's a possession player, isn't he, George? I mean, are you baffled by it? Would you play Herrera? Would he be in your first team?
Do you know what? I mean, Pasha, you said about watching under Herrera when for many years and stuff, and I remember that game. I was at that game in the Europa League, and unfortunately, it was exactly spot on. Herrera himself, DeMarcos, and Muniain, they tore us apart. And I've since that day I've wanted Man United to sign under Herrera, and when obviously there was that time on deadline day when we apparently sent reps out to agree a deal. That was one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen in my life, and then for the deal not to happen, and then obviously signing him back this year, I was absolutely ecstatic, to be honest with you, and I was it was incredible, and I think he's an incredible player, and for me, being that starting 11, he's got an enormous amount of energy. He's got so much room for improvement, and for me, he's not the strongest, but obviously the Premier League is a completely different league to La Liga. Everyone knows that. But that it's, like I said, there's so much room for improvement, and he will only get stronger providing we use him in the correct positions, and we carry on hopefully starting the games that he needs to start in.
Damien has said Herrera's never started when we've played 3-5-2. It has no place for him. But however, when we've started with a 4-1 with a diamond or with a 4-4-2, he has played, which is quite interesting, and goes with you, Pasha, what you said about formations. But from an outside, or from my point of view, it does look like Herrera and Fellaini at the moment are battling each other for a place in the team. So I've put it on Twitter. I'm going to bring it to you guys as well. Tom, we'll start with you. You've got to play one of them, Herrera or Fellaini. Who would you start?
Start for the next game, or start just in general?
Let's say next Premier League game. I can't actually remember who we've got, but let's just say in a general game. You got
in a general game. I rate Fellaini, but I rate Fellaini more off the bench as an impact player. So I think from the start of the game, Herrera's shown he's got great passing. As George said, he's got great energy. He can score, which is a rarity from us from midfield. It's I can't remember the last time we had a goal scoring midfielder who can break from deep, and hit from range. So I'd definitely go with Herrera long term as well, because he's still very young. He's got so much room for improvement. As George said, he could become one of the Premier League's top midfielders. I don't want to put that pressure on him, but he's certainly got the potential over the next few years to develop. Just want to see him given that game time.
Well done, Tom. You've just said it, haven't you? You've just jinxed it completely. He's going to be gone in the start.
The next Fabregas, lads. The next Fabregas. There we go.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. He's got the potential, as everyone said. Shaun, you've got to make that decision. You're Van Gaal. What would you do?
It's a difficult one. I mean, Fellaini seems to be able to come on and change games, like Tom was saying, as impact player off the bench. So I think I would personally go with Herrera, especially as the 4-4-2 diamond, or however you line that 4-4-2 up. I would go with Herrera in there. And then for the game on Friday against Cambridge, I'd love to see Herrera start.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all know what's going to happen against Cambridge. Whoever starts, they're going to be snapping at their heels. It's going to be nothing like Falcao's experience. Okay, he experienced Yeovil, but you know Cambridge are going to be out there scrapping. Di Maria, it's just going to be completely different for these players. You know, Di Maria playing in the Champions League final last season, playing Cambridge 6 months later, or 8 months later. What's that all about? You know.
It'd be interesting. We'll come on to Cambridge in a minute, but you'll play Herrera, yeah? You'll play Herrera. Pasha, what would you do? Normal game, you're going into it. Don't know what formation you go with, but who would you play, Fellaini or Herrera in that midfield?
You know, as a fan person, you obviously want Herrera to play because he brings, like, it's so, like, fun to watch the guy play. But once again, when you think about the physicality, it depends on who we play. You know, Fellaini, he breaks up a lot of plays. You don't really see that with Herrera. But one thing I personally want Herrera to play because he actually changes the tempo of the match whenever he gets on. Yeah. He changes the tempo of the match, and that's the biggest thing. You know, if you have that dynamic midfielder, let me say one thing about Ender Herrera. He doesn't play one position. This guy could play multiple positions. And we've seen United's team, they play a variety of positions. And that is one thing that Louis van Gaal loves. And that's the one thing that we fans love is that we could play him the number 10 role. We could play him as deep line midfielder. We could play him in the center mid. You know, it's great. But once again, it all depends on who we play. Fellaini, you know, he's not fun to watch besides looking at his afro. But once again, he brings a physicality to the game. And I think that's why we're trying to go to get Struben, because Struben is a Louis van Gaal type of player. He thinks like Louis van Gaal. He brings not only defensive aspect to the game, but he brings that offensive aspect to the game. He has an eye for a goal, but not only that, but he knows how to defense. As Fellaini, he does a lot of, you know, scrappy off tackles, you know, what you say, like Paul Scholes kind of tackles. But, you know, once again, it depends on who we play, but as a fan, obviously, it's just so fun to watch Ander Herrera because, like Di Maria, it's just great to watch him because he controls the tempo of the game, he changes the dynamic of the game, and seeing him link up with Mata is like a huge bromance. Unfortunately, De Gea is going to be gutted because of that, but once again, you know, it's great to watch.
Yeah, true. George, what would you go with?
Ander Herrera all day long. You know what? Fellaini, as I think Tom, you were saying about an impact player shut off the bench. I agree about that. You know, with teams, you know, I remember on Robin van Persie's debut. You know, we played Everton away, and we lost 1-0 for a Fellaini header, and that night he was unplayable. But then obviously, as we've already gone over, you know, Fellaini joined Man United and didn't get off to the best of starts, which we all know. However, for now, I'd say Ander Herrera. You know, as Pash said, you know, the tempo, he changes games. You know, he's a little bit quicker than Mata, but the creativity side of things, obviously, I think you'd probably choose Mata, wouldn't you? But, you know, Herrera, we've already said, you know, he's got so much room for improvement, and for me, no brainer. He's a starter. Simple as that.
Do you know what? I might just be different. I'm going to say Fellaini. I'll say Fellaini just for the reason that, one, he's proven everybody wrong. Two, he's actually one player in our squad who's on form. And three, I haven't seen such desire, anger, horse-like ability, running, headless, kicking play, in a good way, by the way, in a Man United shirt. Yeah, in a good way, in a long time. I'm loving the hunger he has every time he gets on the pitch. Yeah. He's playing just himself into the ground. He doesn't leave that pitch without clashing someone onto the floor just so he doesn't get away, without trying to split up play or trying to play a pass. And it's like we were saying last week when obviously we lost against Southampton and everyone was getting on Mata's back because he missed a couple of great chances, and this week people get on Falcao's back because he missed a couple of chances. But at least they got into the positions, and they got into the positions because probably somewhere along the line Fellaini pushed someone over, which is brilliant. So I do rate Fellaini at the moment, and yeah, he's a bench part player, and he will be next season, I think, if he stays.
Can I say one thing? who had when we played Chelsea, who had Fabregas in his back pocket?
Mm.
Fellaini did. You
Yeah.
know, and look at the amount of passes Fabregas in the first half. I'm sorry about that. But I'm just saying that he has changed, and Louis van Gaal has given him that confidence. And David Moyes, he was playing out of position. Look at how much Fellaini used to cause us problems, not only as a behind the striker, but as a number 2 striker. Once we signed him, everybody's like, oh, okay. But if he went off, Arsenal wanted him. There's top clubs that wanted him. And once again, I think he's a great player. We could argue he's not a United standard, but he's still a great addition to the team off the bench, especially. Or he started well too, but I like Fellaini. I rate Fellaini.
Do you know what though, Pasha? I'm going to be a bit controversial here.
Yeah.
If we were playing even with the diamond or the 3-5-2, obviously we always play someone behind the front two. That is usually Mata at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Mata fan, but on form at the moment, I'd play Herrera and Fellaini in the same team with Di Maria, and I'll play Fellaini further up front with just in behind with Herrera on one side, Di Maria on the other side, personally. And then the argument and the strange one is then we've got to try and fit both Carrick and Blind in the team, which is impossible. It's like we've got to play them both. I mean, that pass from Blind through to Wilson when he played it, but it was just, I've never seen someone play a ball like that with vision like that since Paul Scholes was in the United shirt. It was just unreal. And for me, that's why, even if we have got injuries, we cannot play Blind at left wing back, central defence. He has to be in the middle of the park, for me. Anyway, but let's move on, shall we? Let's go on to Cambridge. Tom, I didn't set you the task of getting to know Cambridge. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask you guys who are watching, thank you for having us on. Thank you for watching us ramble on. Make sure you subscribe, comment in the comment box, tweet us at the United View. Do you know anything about Cambridge United? Anybody out there? Top scorer, where they are in the league, what they're doing at the moment, what the players actually do for a living? Just let us know what's happening with Cambridge.
I seriously do. I mean, if you do really well at your A levels, you could get into Cambridge University. Besides this, I have no idea, to be honest.
That's why Rooney doesn't play for Cambridge, and he actually plays for United because he couldn't get into Cambridge. But yeah, tweet us at the United View or subscribe and comment in the comment box. Do you know anything about Cambridge? Obviously, we're not doing this out of disrespect. We're doing this for a bit of fun. So get searching. Let us know some fun facts. Tom, I'm going to ask you what threats could we have, but I don't think even you would know. Looking towards the game, do you reckon we'll be positive going into it, or will we be a bit shaky after Yeovil still hanging over our head?
I don't think so. I think the victory at QPR have given the players, more belief on the road. We've struggled away from home of late. It's become a little bit of a mental block recently, travelling away from home and drawing or losing. But I think going away to QPR and winning, Valdez was posting up pictures from going to and from the QPR game, saying it was a great victory. So, it's just a little window into the players that I think potentially they'll be going to that game with a lot more belief against Cambridge. And we've got to go to places like Cambridge. No disrespect to them, but we've got to go to places like that in cup competitions, thinking that we can get a good, strong win, regardless of the players we put out. I think Van Gaal, because we're out of the Capital One Cup, he's still going to field a strong team. And Cambridge are obviously going to be up for it, no questions about that. But we're going to have to go into it, with a little bit of wariness, considering how we played against Yeovil, but with confidence that we can take them.
And hopefully we will be able to. Shaun, what will you be looking for in the United performance? Do you want to see us just absolute dominate? Do you want to see loads of goals, or do you just want to see a performance from the team?
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, obviously we want. We're going away to Cambridge in the FA Cup. We want everybody's going to say, "Oh, it's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9." How many are we actually going to put past them? To be quite honest, I'd like to see a pretty good performance, and maybe a 2-0 win. I'd like to take away a clean sheet. Especially, it's the unthinkable. Cambridge score first. My God, what will that do to our confidence? I'm just trying to find out some facts for you about them. I
Yeah,
know they had
actually, I'm on here now. I'm on the Cambridge website, so they're in League Two, obviously. They are currently, and someone's put in the comment box, by the way, quite ironically, they're worse than Yeovil. Cheers,
yeah.
mate. Thank you for that comment. Their goal difference is +10, but they're 12th in the league. They're on 35 points. They've played 25. Their top goal scorer is Kwesi Apai with 8 goals. Most appearances so far this season. Their goalkeeper Chris Dunn. Also having a look, fouls committed 41 from the striker who has the most goals as well. Ryan Donaldson has picked up 5 yellow cards, so it might be seeing a few tough tackles from him. Also looking through a pilot, looks like a good little player. He's fast, and he's also got the most shots on target this season. And Ryan Donaldson has got the most assists. Oh, I know Cambridge very well. Looking more at your comments, Max Rushton from Soccer AM is a fan of Cambridge. Their capacity is 10,847, and it's a nice stadium as well. Fred Jones says Luke Chadwick plays for Cambridge. Does he
Good old
support them?
Well, I know Cambridge had a good 4-0 win yesterday. I actually watched Football League show last night.
No, you
they played
didn't.
I did so actually. I had a week off this week. The missus went out, so I got to stay in and watch Football League show.
You're not
I'm
a
shocked.
fun lady, mate.
Every player on that pitch for Cambridge were playing for their place in that team Friday night. And they scored some cracking goals. I couldn't tell you who scored them. I wasn't taking that much notice, to be honest. But
Well,
they
I can tell you,
they played well.
Luke Chadwick, for obviously ex-United, plays for Cambridge. He's number 22 for them. He has scored two goals in total this season, 1 in the league and 1 in the cup. There we go. Imagine if Luke Chadwick scores against us.
Premier League winner.
Yeah. Chadwick 1, Gerrard 0.
Oh, hashtag.
Yeah. It's one of those though, isn't it? Pasha, looking forward to the game. It's not a glamorous tie for us. It's a glamorous tie for them. They're going to be snapping at our heels. They're going to be pushing us. We've got to be strong and physical, haven't we? We've got to really go for this.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been 11 years since we won the FA Cup, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, it's been a long, long time we haven't won it. It's time for Louis van Gaal to give a chance against Adnan Januzaj in the hole that he's always known to be playing. That's his role that he wants to play. Against Cambridge, once again, it's just a game that it's going to be great for our away fans, that we saw how great they were against Yeovil, going to these low division clubs, it's going to be great for them because we're going to a different kind of aspect in England to perform. But once again, I hope our youngsters play. We're still going to put our first team players, but I really do want to see us go at them and beat them, and then hopefully we really need to win the FA Cup because I feel like if Louis van Gaal wins the FA Cup in his first season, that's going to be very, very boost morale for our players. It's going to bring that confidence back that we're getting day by day from the games and stuff. But once again, it's Cambridge. It might not be the best of the best matches, but it's great for our away fans. It's going to be great to watch United play, and it's kind of cool to play against, I guess, a low tired. It's not going to look for Angel Di Maria, as Shaun said, best player in the Champions League final is going to play against Cambridge. Hallelujah! But that's just like, yeah, it's weird.
Really weird. And also thinking that Louis van Gaal was in the World Cup. He was in Brazil in the summer. Now he's at Cambridge. It's an amazing competition. And George, the players have to remember this. They need to remember their hunger for it, don't they? Because obviously it's going to be a challenging game. They're going to have to run themselves off the pitch. But who would you play, George? What formation and what starting 11 would you be looking at? Would you go youth or would you mix it?
I'd mix it 100%. And you know what? I play this formation on FIFA all the time. I'd go 4-4-2. It's the most simple one. But for me, it works. I think we went for it at the back on Saturday against QPR, and then Fellaini went on and scored. And obviously, I know that's it may be a coincidence or whatnot, but we still changed for it at the back and went on and scored. And you know what? I'd give Victor Valdez his debut. Then I'd probably at the back. It's got to be for me. Rojo should play. Is Paddy McNair injured? Is that still? There's a few rumours going around.
I'm sure.
He's fit, so yeah, McNair perhaps and Jones. Left back, who knows? But midfield, I'd definitely start with Herrera and Fellaini. Then Januzaj, Right wing, that's obviously up for debate. And up front, I'll definitely start Falcao and Wilson.
Yeah,
I'd
and you would play
definitely
Di Maria as well, would you? Sorry.
Do you know what? I'd start him on a bench. I think a bit like a Yeovil game. I know he's come back from injury, obviously, but I'd start him on a bench just in case. You never know. Cambridge are going to be right up for this. They're playing Man United. This isn't a normal League Two game. This is a chance of a lifetime for most of these players. So this isn't going to be an easy game by any means. People are already giving the win to us. But for me, I'd rather see a comfortable, as Shaun said, 2-0 win, but with a clean sheet. But with a solid performance and a comfortable performance. The 7-8-0 wins are very good, obviously, but for me, the 2-0 comfortable with clean sheets, that's the best one.
Yeah, and it gives us confidence onto the next game, and of course another clean sheet. Tom, would you give Valdez his debut ahead of De Gea?
Yeah, I think so. It's that type of game. It would be a good introduction. I mean, it could potentially deal with. It might be better for him to get a debut in the Premier League against opposition that aren't necessarily going to be barging him at corners. And if he gets his debut, then Cambridge are going to want to be putting in those high balls early on, testing him from corners. It could be a bit of a tricky one, but I think Valdez has got the experience. He's got the experience with Spain, Barca. He's a top-level world-class goalkeeper. So it's the type of game where you'd expect him to play and excel.
Yeah, and of course De Gea could do with the rest too. Shaun, would you play Januzaj then? Would he be one of the first players on your team sheet?
There's this massive debate about Januzaj, isn't there? I just want to mention the bromance between him and Fellaini. Fellaini celebration yesterday. Just going to hug him. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Januzaj, I don't know.
Shaun, don't cry. Shaun, don't cry. Don't do it.
It's just such a love story, Ben. We all love
a Twilight.
Yeah, just so I'm in two minds about Januzaj. He deserves a chance. I don't think he's been given enough of a chance this season. But when he has been given a chance, he hasn't shown anything. And I've also he seems really selfish with the ball. He'd rather take a shot to nothing than pass it to someone that is probably in a better position or could be maybe in a better position. I'm in two minds. I think if we went for a traditional 4-4-2 with wingers, then yes, I would probably play him and Valencia out on the right, Januzaj on the left. Rojo, Jones, centre backs. Shaw and Raphael, left and right. Valdez in goal. Fellaini and Herrera in the middle, with Falcao and Wilson at top.
Fair enough, and a lot of people are saying Wilson as well. Pasha, would you play Wilson?
Yeah, of course. It would be great for our young lad. He's I'm looking forward to him in the future, and he's such a talented, natural, talented player. Could score with both of his feet and stuff. It would be great to see Wilson. I really want to see Januzaj and the number 10 go behind him, and hopefully give him more confidence back to Falcao and him starting up top. Yes, 110% James Wilson this season start, in my opinion.
Yeah, he needs to, doesn't he? And George, we'll come up to you. A lot of people tweeting their starting lineups. If you're watching now and you're in the chat box, quickly comment with your starting lineups for Cambridge, who you would play. Subscribe, comment in the comment box. Also, by subscribing, you'll be in the running to win a signed De Gea photo, which is brilliant. Comment in the comment box. Let us know who you would play, your starting 11 against Cambridge, and we'll read them out. Damien says De Gea in goal. He'll stick with De Gea. Raphael, Smalling, Rojo, Shaw, if Shaw's fit. Blind, Herrera, Di Maria, and then Rooney, Falcao, Wilson, but in a 4-4-2 diamond. So full strength side there. Dean says yes, he will get a game, but don't want to lose De Gea to Madrid. If they want him, he will go, but I think that's just football, to be honest. So, talking about the teams, mixing them up, a few players saying Sadie Janko as well. Adrian says Valdez, Shaw, McNair, Blackett, Raphael, and Herrera. Blind, Di Maria, Rooney, Wilson, Falcao in his team. Would you go that young? Would you, obviously, if we're going to play McNair and Blackett anyway, George, surely going and getting Janko in that team as well would be a little bit too inexperienced, or would it be the game to do it?
Well, you know what? I don't want to, I'm not disrespecting Cambridge in any way, shape or form, but I think some of United's young players do deserve their chances, and I think we're all, we want to see the youth come through. As always, we know what United's record is for bringing through youth players, and you know what? I don't see any reason why not. Give Yanko a chance. Maybe play Blackett at left back. Who knows? But for me, I think it's a great occasion. It's going to be a great game. Shame it's on a Friday night, but regardless of that, it's going to be a great occasion.
7:55 as well. What a weird kickoff time. What's the point in that? Alex Adams says a 4-4-2 with Valdez in goal, Rafael, Jones, Rojo, Shaw, Valencia, Herrera, Blind, Di Maria, Falcao, Wilson. Fred Jones goes with Valdez, Rafael, Jones, Rojo, Shaw, Yanazay, Herrera, Fellaini, Rooney, Falcao, Wilson. Mark GN says McNair and Blackett, no! And Heather says Valdez, Rafael, Jones, Rojo, Shaw. Carrick, Di Maria, Herrera, Rooney, Falcao, Wilson. Diamond with Rooney just behind the top two. X-Mon plays Valdez, Rafael, Jones, Smalling, Blind, Carrick, Herrera, Fellaini, Mata, Falcao and Wilson. Sure, he's injured, but we don't know how long, so hypothetically we could still stick him in our teams. Kamikaze says Valdez, Rafael, McNair, Smalling, Shaw, Blind, Yanazai, Herrera, Rooney, Falcao and Wilson. And Fred also says Janko at right back would be good for the lad. That's enough talking about teams. We all think we know who we're going to play. Let's get some score predictions and goal scorers, shall we, Tom? Let's start with you.
I'll go for a 3-0. I think Falcao and Wilson and Fellaini.
Fair enough. And if you want to tweet us your predictions, I'm putting up the tweet now at the United View, and make sure you subscribe, comment in the comment box with your score predictions, the score line, and your goal scorers. We'll read them out in a second. Shaun, what would you go for?
Well, I can't say Carrick because I haven't put him in my team. So Carrick's not going to score on Friday. He'll score the following week. I said earlier on, I'll go for a comfortable 2-0. I'd love to see Falcao score a goal. I just think once Falcao actually scores, I know we've said this before, but if he's consistent, run of games, 90 minutes, gets a couple of goals, and then I think he'll be firing. So I'd like to see Falcao score, and yeah, I wouldn't go far wrong with Fellaini actually.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Bullet header, maybe. Well, actually, it'd be really nice to see, I don't know, 2-3-0 with Wilson and Falcao both on the team sheet. It might make Van Gaal think, do you know what? Let's just keep playing these two. Pasha, what do you reckon? The man with the predictions.
I'll say probably like 3-0. Wilson 2 goals, Falcao 1. Yeah.
Yeah. Wilson will score.
Yeah. Wilson is gonna be that guy. Don't forget about Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck is long gone. James Wilson gonna be that guy.
So happy when he scored. So happy. George, what do you reckon?
You know what? I'm gonna go 2-0. I'm gonna go with Shaun. I'm gonna go 2-0, comfortable win, clean sheet. However, I do think Cambridge will. They're going to bring it to us for a little bit. But that's only the magic of the FA Cup, of course. But I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go Falcao, and I'm actually going to go with a defender. I'm not sure who, but I reckon a defender is going to score.
Well, there we go. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And by the way, Jamie Ricketts on Twitter says that he would play Janko. So there we go. That's that one. Let's look at your prediction, Mata and Fellaini. Matt Cottrell says 3-0. Falcao scores all three. Fred says 3-0. Wilson, Falcao, Yanazai. Hello to Assad, who says 5-0. Hat-trick for Falcao, Wilson and Yanazai. Alex says 2-0. It'll take ages to break them down, but Falcao and Wilson. Heather says 4-0. Falcao and Wilson with 2 each. Young Sino says 3-0. Falcao's hat-trick, and he is Sino, and he approves the message. We'd all approve that message, Sino, definitely. And Natalie agrees with us, said, and Solinio says 6-0. Falcao, Rooney, Yanazai, Falcao, and Blind. A lovely order. Paul says 4-0, Falcao, Wilson 2, and Herrera. I'm running out of breath, so please stop your predictions. And I think that's all we've got time for. We've done your review, we've done your preview. Hopefully, good times ahead. We've got one more announcement for you. We know that Martin Lipton from The Sun unfortunately couldn't make it to Friday's live show. So instead, we know this is going to be controversial. We know a few of you are going to raise your eyebrows, but Ben Fairthorne. He's somebody who's been on Twitter. He's someone who's been in the eye of most football fans over the last couple of summers. He got a lot of grief from a lot of Arsenal fans last summer. But he's going to be on. He's going to be chatting to us. It will go up Monday. I spoke to him today. He was desperate to come on to give his side of events. And before he talks transfers with us, he actually explains his story as well. That's why we've gone ahead with the show. He gives us an interview, an exclusive chat, if you like, on Monday at 6 o'clock. Our transfer special with Ben Fairform will go up. Before you get critical, make sure you hear the guy out. He's really lovely to speak to. And Pasha, you spoke to me about this off air. These guys, they wouldn't be asked for an opportunity like this, would they?
No, not at all. If he, if Ben, looking at Ben's perspective, if he had something to hide, he would have never came on. And once again, how do I say? There's so many people on Twitter that want to be journalists or want to be, inside sources and stuff. But once again, it's going to be great for United View having Ben on, giving him his opinion and seeing what he has to say. But once again, it's the world. Look at the media. And everybody likes to talk smack about one another. It doesn't matter if you are or what you're what to say.
Yeah. Well, give the guy a chance anyway. Ben Fairthorn, he'll be giving us an exclusive chat Monday from 6 o'clock. I spoke to him about a few transfers. He had a lot of nice things to say. He didn't claim to have one source, which is a positive, but he also explained about his new job and about his past work being a journalist and what happened last summer. So before you make your minds up about the show, before you make your minds up about us being idiots for having him on, please make sure you hear him out Monday from 6 o'clock. Wednesday, you'll be able to see Tom's face again. Tom, where can people get you on Twitter? And when's your next show?
You can catch me at Tom J. Doyle, and the next show will go up next Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, Wednesday. Yep. Is that 6 o'clock Wednesday? Tom and Haley.
Yep.
Transfer Roundup. Always a great watch.
In front of Transfer Roundup if you want,
Yeah, make sure as well you go back and watch the past two. Brilliant show. Make sure you watch it. Shaun, where can people find you?
You can find me at Shaun MUFC20. That's SHAUN MUFC20.
And of course, you can find these guys' Twitters on our account as well at the United View. Pasha, thank you so much for coming on again, mate. Manchester United stateside. Where can we find you?
Thank you for having me on. My Twitter handle is at PASH021.
Thank you very much, mate. We'll make sure that goes up for people who didn't quite catch it. And George, where can people find you and where can they watch more of you as well? Thank you for coming on. Great debut.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this all day, and I hope you guys watching at home have enjoyed this. You guys can find me at GE07GE10. Links and all that will be on my YouTube channel and on my Twitter page. So come and check me out on there. And while I'm on here, I've actually got a second channel coming up. It's all going to be based on my football stuff and all the public side of things, but I'll keep you updated and everything on going on over there.
Brilliant. Thank you, George. And we'll get the links up for you. Follow us at the United View. Thank you so much to you guys for subscribing. We've reached over 900 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing for us. And make sure you also follow us at the United View. We need 10,000 followers. Hear more from these guys soon. We'll be back Sunday night, 10 o'clock. Come on, United. Let's get that win against Cambridge and go on in the FA Cup. More transfer stuff. Monday, 6 o'clock. Wednesday, 6 o'clock, and Friday to be confirmed. Have a good week. See you Sunday. Come on, United!
Come on, United!
United!